Welcome back, guys. We just did an awesome tour of Oshana's fish room, and it's wow. So many cool Apistos. We've got awesome discus, and he's got this awesome water line that is the heart of his whole fish room. And he's waiting for us right back through this door to show us how this all works. So let's get right into it. And check out this crazy system.
Hello.
Hey, hello again. It's been a while. It's been a whole 2 minutes. But wow.
Exactly right. So yeah, so this is the heart of my water chain system here. And this is where all the magic happens, I would say, for the fish room. Making it so easy for me to maintain as many tanks and potentially more in the near future. Alright, so I guess to kind of showcase how this all works, I think the first place we want to start off is right here. This is a thermostatic mixing valve.
Okay.
It has a little valve that is kind of temperature sensitive, and it actually regulates the water coming from the cold and hot sections over here. It is set to spit out water at 78 degrees, so this will automatically mix hot and cold to produce 78 degree temperature water and come out over here. I would want to say though, there are some videos out there, so for instance even in Dean's fish room, where they have this very expensive device that they're referring to as a thermostatic mixing valve, but actually that's a thermostatic mixing valve with a controller built in and all those other electronics.
Because he changes the temperature right there.
Exactly, but then again, he in addition has a separate controller as well.
Mm-hmm.
Don't really need all of that.
Okay.
That in itself is the actual thermostatic mixing valve, so probably in that device is one of those, along with the other electronics for all of the other things that it does.
And that let him catch the buttons and just do as he pleases. But this just lets you give a base start.
Right, so this is just for mixing up the water. It is a mechanical thing. And while that device that you see in like Dean's fish room is like I don't know, $1,500, something like that.
Ouch.
You can get a good one of these. I would suggest though getting a good one.
Yeah.
So I got this from Plumbing Supplies Plus or something like that. It cost me like $250, but big difference. But it does the same job that you really want it to do.
Yeah.
And
I might as well spend a pretty penny if that's really where everything starts.
You can go on Amazon and you can get these like cheap ones for like $50 or something, but I wouldn't suggest that. Definitely get a good quality one, so this way you are sure that the water temperature will be good and it will maintain itself for the longevity that you need. Also make sure when you're getting one though, that you get one that has a temperature range to what you want. Most of them start off where the lowest temperature is over 80 degrees.
It'll cook our fish.
Right. But there are those that can go down to 70 degrees, so make sure you're getting one of those though, and it will be part of the description anyway.
Okay.
So coming out at 78 degrees here, it goes into through this. This is a manual valve that I have in case I ever want to shut it off myself.
Yep.
Followed by a pressure regulator. In my case, the pressure from the mains is perfectly fine, but I added this anyway just in case I need to regulate that.
Okay.
Followed by a electronic valve. We'll talk about this a little later on.
All right.
Followed by a check valve, ensuring that no backflow of water. That said, as we saw in the previous video, all of the inlines into the aquariums are actually raised above the aquarium. So this way there's no chance of actually siphoning the water from the aquarium back into the mains. But nonetheless, for
redundancy.
It's a redundancy thing, right?
Can't hurt.
Then a pressure and temperature gauge. The temperature stopped working, so that's why it's all the way up here.
230 degrees?
Yeah, so I need to replace that.
Yeah.
But I know it's not 230 degrees. Followed by a flow valve. Right now, nothing is hooked up to this. I dabble with some electronics like Arduino projects, so I want to build my own flow controller. I looked at some things that are available, but they didn't really do exactly what I wanted it to do. So for that reason, I want to build my own.
Okay.
Then from there, it goes into a sediment filter, carbon. Technically speaking, I only need one carbon block, but I have the redundancy again, just in case this depletes or any chlorine gets through. It will filter out on the second carbon block. So essentially, this is removing all chlorine from the water before it actually goes into the system.
Better to be safe than sorry.
Everything has unions on it, so if I ever need to replace something or fix something, I've added unions to make everything easy for me to maintain moving forward as well. Then once it passes through the carbon blocks, it actually goes into the orbit. What are these solenoid valves? So this is actually systems used for, or devices used for lawn care, right? If you want to have a auto sprinkler system, this is what you get. You can get this from Home Depot, which is where I got them from, and but repurposing it to use as part of a fish room. There are many fish rooms that actually use the same thing, so this is nothing special to me.
We're great copiers. That's what you do in this hobby.
Yeah, and that's what when
Take and
building
tweak.
this, I looked at other people's fish rooms and what they did, and I took bits and pieces that I think were good, that worked, that I think would work for me, but then I added on my own things wherever I thought was necessary. So like for instance, I don't think I've ever seen anybody do this, which I will show you in a bit.
Okay.
So from here it goes into the separate zones. So these are the half-inch plumbing that you saw as part of the manifolds inside the fish room. All the zones have been labeled on each of these as well, so I always know which zone is which. Right. And then they also have manual valves on them, so I can control a specific zone if I want to shut off manually to a specific zone. So for instance, these don't even have aquariums yet, so the racks are still being built. So for that reason, I just leave them shut off. So even if I accidentally were to engage these, nothing's going to happen. No water is going to spill out. All of these are controlled by this Rakio controller. This has 8 zones as well, and with this I can actually control my water changes from my phone, from wherever I am in the world, really. So if I just pull it up here, let me just get the app going. So this is the app, so I can choose the controller that I have over here. You can see that I have schedules as well, so it's automatically doing the water changes without me even having to interfere in it.
Does it tell you the weather too?
It does, because again, this is a sprinkler system for lawn care, right?
Okay.
So you can actually set this up where if it is raining, it doesn't run and all of that. But technically speaking, from a fish room perspective, you want the opposite of that. When it is raining,
but if you're a Corey
want
guy, this could be an awesome addition.
Right.
Oh, we're gonna get a huge down pressure, 50% RO water change.
Exactly. So then I can pick the zone that I want. So let's say I want to change zone 1. I can select multiple even, and then pick for how long that I want it to run. So let's say I want zone 1 to run for 1 hour, and then it will start. That means water is actually flowing from zone 1. If you come over,
We'll come out here.
around into any one of these aquariums, you'll see that water is flowing through those into those aquariums.
I see you have 2 inlets to the 40 gallons.
Yes.
What's that for?
So the 2 inlets, unlike all the others that only have a single inlet, is because, well, when it comes to fish rooms, we're always running out of space. You need more tank space for fry or whatever you're doing. So for the 40 breeders, what I did was I put 2 inlets and 2 matin filters on either side. Of course, that means that it can hold more stocking. But at the same time, what I can do is I can set up a divider right down the middle of the tank, I will actually be able to then make a 40 breeder into two 20-gallon containers where I can have separate species of fish, but it will nicely still drain and do the water change.
You're a genius. I need to be on my knees praising. My mind's blown.
The mapping filters were also DIY, so it was just PVC that I bought from Home Depot. Cut out the airlifters, the panels on the two sides. I actually used acrylic that I cut up to 1-inch thick strips and silicone them on onto the tank. Speaking of that, this silicone over here is actually still 100% silicone, but formulated for plastic.
Ah.
So it has a better adhesion to plastics, but once cured, is still fish safe.
And that just lets you pop the acrylic so that the foam pushes against
Exactly.
here.
And the foam I got from eBay, which is essentially from China. I got these 4 foot by 4 foot 2-inch foam.
Okay. And it's
Great.
suited you well. It seems like everything's filtered really, really well in here.
And then once they overflow, they will overflow into the sun. Now, actually, another thing I do want to call out, inside those things that are actually lifting up the inlet, what I've done is I've actually put in these drip limiters in there. Let me get this. So this is an example of one of them, scaled down. So what I do actually is get a union and one of these. This is, I forget what this is called. It's a reducing a reducer. So this goes from 3/4 to 1/2 inch, right?
Okay.
So in these cases, what I did was, you see this piece over here, the plastic bit on the lid?
Yep.
I actually drilled holes in them, and then I actually cemented these together with that plastic bit wedged in between. So that
Okay.
actually holds the thing together. Then, of course, I glue also a piece of PVC with just a little bit of excess coming out. So then I can put an end cap. The end cap I drill in and put this this bulkhead, this quick connect bulkhead into it. This I use because in most cases I want to have plumbing that doesn't kink. So rather than actually trying to bend the plumbing or bend the tubing to fit in here, I use those. Keep in mind these are street type fittings, which you get as well. Most of the time you'll see elbows that have the two ends just like this.
Yeah.
But you also can get the street fittings that you can actually clip in, and it reduces the height on the thing. But the main thing is all of these have drip limiters. This regulates the amount of water that comes out of there.
So it's not just a jet stream.
Exactly. So this is a 2 gallon per hour that is on the 10 gallons and the 20 longs. These have 2 4-gallon per hour. But the beauty of that is then when I'm setting these up, I don't need to try and mess with the valve.
It's just
to
it's a
regulate.
10% every hour.
Exactly. And I know exactly how much time it will take to do a 10%, 20%, and so on. So with a 2 gallon per hour over here, I know 1 hour running will do a 20% water change on each of these. Now, yes, it's going to dilute because it's not draining and then filling.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it's just 20% fresh water added. Yeah, some of the fresh water is going to drain out as part of.
But you're hitting that approximate, so
Exactly.
that's wow. That's wow. You need 100%, 10 hours, boom, and you should have a totally
Exactly.
new tank.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh, I forgot to do my water changes today. You're laying in bed, you lean over, you kiss the missus, changing my water real quick.
Yeah.
Boop, boop. It's running.
It is scheduled, so I don't even have to do that.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to set up a fish room one day and beg for your advice.
So these things are actually key. And so I tested out a few of them to make sure that they actually work well. For the most part, the ones that I chose work exactly as they're rated. So
Okay.
I get a good water change in there.
Oh, it's so genius. And if we come over, we can hear it just floating right in.
Right.
And so this is a float valve, right? Once it kicks to a certain height, the sump will kick in.
That's right.
And it'll just suck out and drain out to the sewer.
Right.
Wow. Wow.
So now, let me actually show you one of these, and we can go back inside actually.
Okay.
So these are the sensors, right? The leak sensors that I have.
And what do these connect to?
So these are controlled using this controller here.
Alrighty.
But that automatic valve is also controlled by this.
That controls the piece right over here.
The piece. Yeah. This one
This
right
one?
over here.
So this is controlled by that smart U-Link, was it?
Yo-Link, yeah.
Yo-Link.
Yeah.
So that controls here and can kill the water if needed.
Exactly. So, if there were to be a leak, so let me just mimic the leak here. So now there's a leak. What's going to happen is not only will I get a message, hopefully some point soon.
There it is. It just beeped red.
There you can see I got a message letting me know that that particular controller or that leak sensor has been triggered. But you can see that the water change system stopped. So not only will I know that there's a leak, but just to prevent any further damage, it will stop water or block out water to the entire water chain system. So this way, it's not going to continue to flood water into the area.
And that's Yo-Link.
Yeah.
And it's just that tiny drop of water.
Yeah.
All it takes is the slightest bit. So you don't even need to worry about, coming down to 2 inches of water. A droplet gets on that.
Right. And there's sensors at the bottom too, so it's not like...
Oh, underneath?
Yeah. So there's these over here as well.
Oh, wow. So there's... Anything starts overflowing. A tank cracks, anything.
Exactly.
We're not pouring any water in, and we'll deal with whatever comes.
Yeah. And then the idea is, through the camera, if this happens when I'm away, I can still visually see, all right, what is going on here. And given that it is something that can be isolated to a particular rack, say, let's say if it's just rack 2 that is giving the issue, I can then disable rack 2, essentially anything that is set up as a timer or a schedule for rack 2, I can just disable those. And from my phone, again, where I'm in the world, re-engage the auto water change system. It will continue to do auto changes for everything else, but not the rack that is a problem.
Wow. That's all I can say to that. Just wow. And everything's handled. And when you eventually have this side set up, it'll all be on the same thing. Another camera.
Same thing. Yeah. So there's another camera over here for this side.
Perfect. And you get a view of everything.
Right.
Holy smart fish room. So is there anything else on this system that you really want to point out or is unique?
So then the next thing is the RO. And so you can see even for this section over here, I have one of those sensors, right? In case of this system begins to fail.
One of these comes loose or whatever.
So the RO unit is also connected to one of these zones here. And the idea long term or in the near future is this will be the container that's going to hold RO water. I can put in a pump here and then pump RO water under pressure into the other aquariums. But right now this is not set up, so for that reason the RO system is actually connected directly to those aquariums, and as a result, because it's not under pressure, I can only really do RO water changes on one 10-gallon at a time. I really only need them for the 10 gallons, but then again, if I'm spawning the discus, I need it for that as well. So yeah, and then this actually will filter out the water. I actually won this in one of the Bucks County Aquarium Society
auctions.
Raffles, one of their auctions. I won this in the raffle.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's a nice addition. I just picked one of those up like a month ago.
Yeah, and I was going to buy one, but I saw it in the auction, so I put in tickets. Like, I never win, but then all of a sudden, when they called my name, I was like, "Holy shit!" And worked worked out great.
That's awesome. All the more reason you guys should check out your local aquarium societies.
That's right.
Check them out. Keep this hobby alive. That's where you meet people. That's how we were introduced to each other, and we get to do cool stuff like this for you.
And you can see that all the tooling is also conveniently available here. So if I need to change something, I have the tools that I need. I don't have to go hunting for it wherever I put it or anything like that.
That's phenomenal. And the lighting, even just the nice clean light strip so you can see everything.
I mean,
it's just brilliant.
I really need to mount that. I just hung that up.
That looks professional enough to me.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, if you guys want this, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We check out fish rooms, we go over cool tours, we breed stuff, we make mistakes of our own, share it with you, and we're so thankful to be able to bring this along with you. Thank you so much for showing us around to everything. It's been a blast.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for taking the time to record this.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't already, make sure you watch the tour. We're going to put it right here. And that was an awesome tour of this fish room. Loads of apistos and a lot of really cool Tanganyikan cichlids. So catch you in the next one. Have a good day.